During Mariah's middle school graduation day, he found himself on top of a building, feeling overwhelmed by darkness due to a joyless life. He was on the brink of somersaulting into the hard cement below, seeking relief. Fortunately, an angel named Nassie intercepted him, and although Mariah initially believed he was being taken to heaven, Nassie introduced herself and expressed her happiness at preventing him from becoming a pancake on the ground. Mariah finds it hard to accept his current reality, and when he looks at his reflection in the window, he still desires to become a flat pancake. He has been struggling since his brother and parents passed away 7 years ago. Living with his aunt and uncle, he feels neglected and isolated as he witnesses his aunt and other kids being cared for, while he is locked up in a room they treat as a trash room. He feels like nothing more than a tool for them, spending each day alone and shivering in that room. He had lost all hope for his future, but then Nassie took him away and revealed herself as a special angel, with incredible powers to grant him anything he wished for in this world, whether it be freedom or love. Mariah was taken aback, wondering if he had consumed something expired or if he had somehow entered nirvana. Nevertheless, the angel advised him to begin with freedom, considering he had felt like a slave his entire life. Nassie offers Mariah the chance to have wings and experience freedom, allowing him to fly anywhere in the world. Furthermore, she presents him with a magical crystal arrow that, when used, can make anyone instantly fall in love with him. Mariah finds it difficult to decide between the two, so he insists on having both. Nassie agrees to grant him both wishes and explains that the idea of choosing one was just a traditional way of phrasing it. Mariah becomes fed up with the situation and decides to return to his plan of hugging the ground. However, Nassie intervenes by gifting him a special armband and a necklace using magical circles. She assures him that only those with angels will be able to see these items. Mariah is informed that this will be his life until a new god is chosen. Despite his doubts, Nassie encourages him to give flying a try. With a single thought, Mariah's wings appear and he swiftly soars into the sky, struggling to control his speed through the clouds. Nevertheless, he manages to rise above them and witnesses the beauty of the sunset. The experience of flying exceeds his wildest dreams, moving him to tears of joy. Upon returning to the city, he rediscovers hope and a renewed desire to embrace life. On St. Patrick's Day in Tokyo, Mariah nostalgically recalls the moment when he gave a 4-leaf clover to his childhood love while gazing at the sky. Surprisingly, Nassie returns and presents him with 2 extraordinary abilities: the power of super speed, enabling him to steal anything he desires, and a magical arrow that can make anyone fall in love with him and obey his every wish. Mariah is confused by Nassie's claim of being an angel while advocating actions that seem devilish to him. Nassie explains that devils don't really exist, but rather, the darkness lies within the hearts of evil people like his uncle and aunt who have committed murders. Nassie reveals that his uncle and aunt were the ones responsible for his parents' death, and he had been oblivious to this fact all along. Throughout this time, they had subjected him to bullying and treated him like a slave. Mariah's mind shatters with the shocking revelation, unable to believe that the angel's words could be true. Nassie urges him to use the arrow to find out for himself. He rushes back home, and as he enters, his aunt tells him to hurry and leave the doorway. He wants to ask her something, but she tells him to be quiet and hurry up. He aims his arm at her and fires the arrow directly into her chest. His aunt gets up, ready to fight back with her giant plots, but Mariah pushes her away and demands to know if they were the ones responsible for his family's demise. In tears, his aunt breaks down and blames everything on her husband. In the room, Mariah's uncle enters and finds his wife in tears. She confesses the truth, revealing that it was her husband who orchestrated the car explosion to steal Mariah's family fortune. As Mariah hears this, memories of that tragic day flash through his mind when his parents were driving his brother to school and he was preparing his project. The car explosion shattered his world. As the struggle continues, his wife admits that their motive was solely driven by greed for insurance money. The revelation that they committed such a heartless act for financial gain shatters Mariah's mind. Filled with anger and grief, he expresses that they should have been the ones to die instead of his innocent family. Upon hearing Mariah's revelation, his aunt becomes curious about what lies beyond nirvana. Nassie explains that this curiosity is due to the power of his red arrow. The arrow has the ability to lead someone who has done something deserving of meeting the afterlife to encounter it. When Mariah commands it, the arrow's power enables that person to reach the afterlife. He collapses and realizes how fragile life can be, yet he is still alive despite all the hardships he faced. Memories of his mother's wisdom come flooding back when he once showed her his family portrait. She had told him that every person is born with the purpose of seeking happiness and striving for greater joy. This revelation makes it clear to Mariah that he should continue living and pursue happiness. Just then, the angel reveals her name as Nassie, and she reassures him that she is here to support him personally on his journey to happiness. A few days later, Mariah finds himself in a hotel. He's poor and can't pay for a room. He resorts to using the arrow's power to persuade the staff to let him stay, but he realizes that stealing everything won't bring him true happiness. What he truly desires is a simple and ordinary sense of happiness, but to achieve that, he knows he must start earning money. Nassie advises Mariah to reclaim the money his uncle and kids took from him by using the arrow. However, Mariah can't bear the idea of witnessing the violence again. Instead, she grants him the peaceful white arrow, which can instantly end lives without gore. Nassie explains that God has become weak after dedicating a long life to improving Earth. To find a successor, God appointed 13 angels to search for humans capable of becoming the new God. Nassie is thrilled to help Mariah find happiness within 999 days, and together they embark on this important journey. While watching TV, Mariah witnesses a person being followed by an angel who has manipulated 5 women to fall in love with him using the arrows. Concerned for his safety, Mariah wonders if there's a way to protect himself from being targeted. Nassie explains the rules of the arrow's usage. The only way to avoid being hit is by flying faster using the wings. Furthermore, the effects of red arrows wear off after 33 days, and a person can only be shot once. Additionally, within a 33-day period, one can shoot a maximum of 14 arrows, which is likely what the person on TV did to manipulate the women. Meanwhile, inside the car, the plot takes an intense turn with so much plot development with so much plots. As they beg him for a protein shake, he starts to feel amazed by the life he's experiencing. However, suddenly, a person wearing a powerful Mega Man suit and armor appears and points a white arrow at him, causing his life to be instantly ended. The next day, Mariah reads the news about the guy's death and witnesses Luda, the angel, bringing the person's body back to heaven. Luda expresses relief that this person is gone. Meanwhile, while walking through the city, Nassie congratulates Mariah on getting into his top high school and assumes he must be intelligent for using the red arrow to make his uncle confess. Nassie tries to cheer him up, but she notices that Mariah seems to be struggling with depression instead of finding solace in positive thinking. Concerned, she asks him why he isn't as happy as he should be. He confesses that his main fear is the death of the other god candidate. In the center of the city, a bank robbery is unfolding when a Superman-like character named Metropolitan arrives to save the day. He takes to the skies, shooting red arrows at the police, declaring that he's here to rescue everyone. Metropolitan confronts the main criminal, getting close to him to block his gun by vanishing right next to him. He shoots the criminal with a red arrow, convincing him to surrender. However, the criminal's comrade tries to attack Metropolitan, but ends up accidentally shooting his own friend instead. The criminal fires the shotgun at Metropolitan, but he quickly vanishes before the bullets reach him, preparing a white arrow and ending the criminal's threat. Nassie realizes that Metropolitan's angel must hold a special rank. Metropolitan then makes an announcement on every television station, revealing that there are 12 enemies targeting him. He has already defeated one of them and declares his intention to eliminate the remaining 11. Meanwhile, Ness receives a command to disappear before Metropolitan, and she follows it. He tries to blend in with the crowd and eventually heads home after the intense encounter. Later that day, Mariah asks Nassie to remove his god candidate status, even though she saved his life. He fears being targeted by Metropolitan and wants to avoid any danger. However, Nassie explains that revoking his arrow and wings would result in the end of his life. These powers were granted to him because he had already given up on everything, and it was God's command to select candidates who were ready to relinquish their attachment to life. Nassie explains to Mariah that special rank angels can grant wings, red arrows, and white arrows, while first rank angels can give both wings and an arrow, and second rank angels provide either wings or arrows. She mentions that an angel's rank can change at any time. This revelation leaves Mariah pondering what he should do next, faced with the choices and possibilities before him. The following day, Mariah goes to school without Nassie, who had instructed him to use the red arrow on Saki, his childhood crush, to make her fall in love with him within 33 days. However, Mariah firmly pledges not to resort to such actions. As he arrives at school, he is hopeful that it will mark the beginning of a fresh start for him. But then, high up in the sky, an angel appears, and just the thought of it fills him with fear. He tries to ignore its presence, pretending it doesn't exist. However, in an instant, the angel senses his presence and abruptly vanishes before him, leaving Mariah in utter shock. Mariah's reaction confirms that he is a god candidate since he can see the angel. The angel reveals that the god candidate is standing right behind him. Mariah notices Saki, and she shoots him with her red arrow, even though he has always been in love with her. Despite his existing feelings for Saki, the arrow's power compels him to confess his emotions to her. She informs him that her parents are at home and invites him to visit. Filled with excitement, Mariah swiftly flies at incredible speed to her house. Inside Saki's room, Mariah patiently waits until she finally appears. Saki asks him if he possesses white arrows, and he admits that he does. The angel expresses concerns about him being Metropolitan, but reassures that he isn't a rebel. The angel then explains the reason behind shooting him with the arrow. She wants him to become Saki's wings, as she lacks them. Mariah agrees to become her wings, and to solidify their pact, they clasp their hands together, causing a climax in the simp, and a bond forms around their hands. Overwhelmed with emotion, Mariah embraces her from behind. He quickly takes off. As they soar through the sky, Mariah cherishes the memories of their childhood spent together. Taking her above the clouds, he assures Saki that he will always be there to support her if anything is troubling her. Saki acknowledges that she is facing a personal problem, but reassures him that she will be alright. She feels grateful for talking with him and becomes teary-eyed. After some time, Saki learns that Metropolitan is going to be on a TV station at 6 p.m. The angel cautions Mariah that if Metropolitan remains alive, he might harm Saki. As a result, Saki's red arrow compels Mariah to search for Metropolitan. Mariah is willing to sacrifice himself to protect Saki, but Nasi intervenes, cautioning against rash actions. Nasi reveals that Revel, the angel of mischief, likely orchestrated this plan. If Mariah died, his powers would transfer to Saki, and if Metropolitan died, the arrow would compel Mariah to give his powers to her. Either way, Revel would win. This sinister plan is why Revel is a second-rank angel, while Nasi's purity elevates her to a special rank angel. Revel admits to setting them up but agrees to a truce for mutual success. However, he remains concerned about Mariah's actions after the arrow wears off. Nasi reassures him that Mariah shows affection to Saki daily.
What, really?
After spending a month together, they decide to tie Mariah to a chair to ensure he won't take any rash actions towards Saki. Revel believes that Mariah's emotions are genuine, and Mariah isn't upset at Saki for shooting him. He is content because he finally had the chance to confess his feelings and recognize their significance. He vows not to let someone like Metropolitan jeopardize his happiness with Saki. Saki wholeheartedly agrees because she has longed for happiness since being with him. The news station announces that Metropolitan calls for all the other candidates to gather at the baseball stadium to find a peaceful resolution together. He invites them to join him there, where he will be waiting for them. Mariah ponders how candidates who are not in Japan would cope without wings. Nasi clarifies that all the god candidates are from Japan, as people tend to seek spiritual connections like meeting Buddha in Japan. Despite this information, Mariah still tries to devise a plan of attack in preparation for the upcoming situation. The next day at the stadium, Mariah observes angels hovering in the sky and wonders how many god candidates will be present. Saki warns Mariah to stop staring to avoid drawing attention from the angels. Meanwhile, Mariah prepares himself for the moment to shoot Metropolitan with a red arrow. At the designated time, Metropolitan appears on the field. But shortly after, yellow and blue Power Rangers also show up, equipped with both red arrows and wings. They shoot the red arrow at Metropolitan, but it fails to penetrate, making them realize that it was a trap. They suspect that this person, posing as Metropolitan, was likely just a random individual who had been shot with the arrows and placed there to lure out the other god candidates. They call out for Metropolitan, hoping that this plan will finally turn their lives around. One of them recalls the painful memory of his entrance exam results being posted and feeling crushed for being rejected. He was sitting alone when another man, wearing a green shirt, also arrived crying for facing rejection. The green-shirted man had failed 3 times before, and they both hugged the ground in despair. In that moment, angels appeared before them and granted them the arrows along with wings. They both understood the laws and the government better than anyone else, and they made a promise to each other to climb to the top and create a better life. They are aware that a god candidate can only shoot an arrow every 2 seconds, and the arrow's range is limited to 31.6 meters, making the baseball field the best place for their attack. Nasi and Revel were unaware of the arrow's specific range until now. Suddenly, the screen turns on and Metropolitan's face appears. He confirms that they were right about the Metropolitan being a fake. He then reveals his own red and white arrows, explaining that he can fire arrows every 0.3 seconds instead of the standard 2 seconds since he possesses 2 of them. Metropolitan bids them farewell, but the 2 men restrain his fake copy. A girl starts flying in the sky and pleads to take her with them because she is terrified of Metropolitan and does not want to die after being bullied all her life. Mariah realizes that Saki was likely going through something similar. The girl implores them to shoot her with a red arrow, but as she approaches, Metropolitan quickly takes a red arrow and shoots her instead. He scolds them, telling them they can't hesitate in such situations. He vanishes again, vowing to get rid of them since they were too slow to react. The men attempt to forge an alliance with all the other god candidates, pledging to work together to bring down Metropolitan. Unexpectedly, a pink and green Power Ranger appears in the chat. In order to solidify their alliance, they shoot the green and pink Power Ranger with red arrows. However, while they are distracted, something changes with Metropolitan. The men believe that they have the numerical advantage, but Mariah senses that something is amiss. The two Power Rangers ask them to reveal their arrows, but claim they don't know what they are talking about. Suddenly, the giant screen turns on again and Metropolitan appears on it, trying to speak but revealing that he is not the real Metropolitan. The real one is behind them, readying two arrows to shoot directly at them. The blue Power Ranger is knocked out by the white arrow, and the yellow Power Ranger is hit directly with the red one. The yellow Power Ranger is now under Metropolitan's control, and he asks how this happened. Metropolitan unveils a surprising truth: green and pink were ordinary humans under his command, meant to serve as distractions from Metropolitan's true location. Yellow is puzzled and questions how they were affected by red arrows. Metropolitan then reveals his ability to manipulate people without relying on red arrows, attributing his control to his vast wealth, and explains that money empowers him to do anything. Metropolitan catches the angel attempting to sneak away but orders it to hand over the wings and arrows before leaving. Now equipped with 4 arrows and 2 wings, he plans a spectacle by restraining Power Ranger Yellow alongside a girl. He aims to test the red arrow's capabilities and commands Yellow to die. However, Yellow refuses to obey the command. Undeterred, Metropolitan points a white arrow at him. Despite Yellow's desperate attempts to fly and escape, the restraints immobilize him. Metropolitan fires the white arrow, sending Yellow to afterlife. As the situation unfolds, Rebel is concerned that Mariah might attempt to intervene, but he's aware that any hesitation could jeopardize his and Saki's lives. With the Angel's attempts to stop Metropolitan from harming the girl, she cries out for help while Metropolitan continues trying to provoke the other god candidates to react. Watch this next video. See you next time.